I got to Westgate Mall, it's 18,000 in there.
I had a credit card that I didn't need.
If I didn't have that much burden on me, financial commitment, whatever the case is, I wasn't gonna be aggressive.
What's up, besties, and welcome back to another episode of Marriage and Money, a space where we share real life stories about money matters in a marriage. This week's episode is gonna be a fun one. I guess it depends on how you look at it. He doesn't think it's fun, but I think it's fun, and that's why I'm doing this intro with him instead of doing it by myself like I've been doing for the past episodes. This is basically a wrap up of month of May, what we've learned and how we're doing. But more importantly, I wanted us to come sit here and chat about our money mistakes, because people typically have this preconceived ideas that if you look like you're making it, surely you are making it, and it's not always the case. Instead of showing you guys our overnight success of 2 cars, even though my mom says no, so shady, and a penthouse and 3 kids and good schools, good jobs, and everything is pretty much set, let's talk you guys through how we got here, the backstory of why we started Marriage and Money. Because like I said, this was a learning exercise for us, and so we decided to make it like a shared experience and come out together on the other side, happy, wealthy, debt-free, all that fun stuff. So I'm here with the husband today. Wonder what stunt he's going to be pulling.
Yes, we are in the house, in the kitchen.
Hi, husband. Do you want to introduce yourself to the besties?
Hi, I'm husband. I'm here. It's quicker than a sip of wine.
He is such a clown. Here's a fun bit about this video, right? We didn't tell each other what we're going to be talking about.
I have no idea. You meant to say you kept everything else to yourself and you just ambushed me. What? Into the lights, because I just wanted to test the lights.
No, that's not what I meant to say. What I meant to say is exactly what I said. We didn't tell each other what we're going to say. So the whole point of not telling each other, here's the gist of it. We were boyfriend and girlfriend for like more than majority of our relationship. And for the most part of that, we didn't combine our finances.
Yeah.
So I was still doing what I wanted to do. You were still doing what you wanted to do. And in the process, we both committed to stuff. And committed, is uncommitted a word?
No, you just completed your financial obligation.
Yeah. And some of them, some we succeeded, some we almost succeeded. We were together, but financially we were not together, if that makes sense. And so that's why I'm saying we really didn't tell each other about it. I don't even think we had the proper money conversation.
And it's not because of stupidity or something. It just made sense at the time that we are still boyfriend and girlfriend. You don't want to be measuring the money.
Yeah.
It's not because of we were so dumb, book smart but dumb in reality. It was because of the situation, how it led. As much as we learned here the benefits of combining earlier, where other people combined while they were still dating, we had our own story where we didn't combine even though we were living together. We never actually said, oh, hang on a second, in a year's time we're going to be combining finances. I'm making a 5-year long-term commitment. We never do it that way. I just don't want to paint the picture that everything else was so bad.
No, but that's not the picture I'm painting either. I'm painting a real picture to say we were boyfriend and girlfriend for the majority of our years together. And during that time, we hadn't combined our finances. And maybe combining finances means different things to different people. And I'm interested to know what it means to you. But to me, it means, in South Africa, they don't let you have a joint account. I mean, I suppose they will let you, but when we inquired, they said no. We didn't join our monies together. So I would still get my salary. He would get his salary. And then we shared responsibility to say, you pay the rent. At the time, I think we're even going 50-50, so half of everything. And then whatever's left off, it's your money. You do whatever you want. Whether he's struggling, whether I'm struggling, it's your money. We hadn't combined any of those. What does it mean to you when people say we've combined our finances in a relationship? What does that look like? I'm not talking marriage, I'm talking relationship.
That's where we had a different understanding for a long time.
Yeah.
To you, your understanding of combining was either we withdraw all the money, we put it on the mattress, and then but the only problem is we earn more than the ATM limit, so we are past that stage financially. And your other definition of combining is all the money goes into one account and it gets split. My definition of combining was disclosure. If you told me, okay, I get paid 10,000 and I say I get paid 5,000 and then we do the budget, it doesn't matter whose account it comes from.
Yeah.
We hadn't combined our salary because we had not said I got 2,000 extra. At that time it was, okay, I paid what needs to be paid. The kids, there's food, the school fees is done, the rent is paid, and then whatever I have, I can decide to go invest. I remember at one point I had all of those investment things that you could talk about, retirement annuity, investment stuff that they always talk about. I was building all of those things, but it was building what? Selfishly for me. It was never say, oh, hang on a second, we have a child. How are we building this child? Because we're gonna have private education. That's my definition of combining. Not to say it was in one account. Even the conversation of, okay, you're gonna put money away. We never said, oh, you're gonna be putting 500 rands away so that we can go on a holiday in wherever. We never did that.
Yes, I get what you're saying. And it all makes sense. There's no right or wrong, I suppose. It's just, it is what it is, right? But would you say though, I mean, without getting into the details of everything else, would you say we struggled with combining our finances because of all the family drama?
It's two ways. Family trauma was another excuse not to. The second one was the advices that we get, because normally when you go to the bank, we always blame bankers, but this was the advice that we got. When we combine and create one account and we put the money together, one of us is not going to have a credit history. I don't want to say it was because of the family trauma. I just want to say the family prolonged the process. Looking back at it now, we should have combined the money a long time ago.
We should have. That's true. We should have.
But at the time, we started using that, families are taking too long with the Lobola negotiation as an excuse.
No, but it wasn't even an excuse. It wasn't even a conversation that was had. It just happened naturally, for lack of a better word. Because I mean, do you remember when we, I think it was when we moved in the first time, when we bought that duplex all the way across town, and you would handle majority of the bills, and that, because at the time I was making like peanuts, and you would handle majority of the bills and I would handle whatever it is I could afford, and it was fine. It was after we moved out and tried to sell that duplex just before selling it that we started with the whole 50-50 thing. And I think that's where majority of the mess up happened, because it was almost like you have to survive. You have to survive, and you have to find a way to do it alone, even though you are in a relationship kind of thing.
It's also quite hard, and I must say all of this, because some of us, you're expected to have, like in the case of getting married, you're expected to have money for Lobola and the celebrity, everything as a guy, but you are never given a chance to build those reserves. You're never given a chance to build 300,000.
Which he didn't pay, by the way. Not 300,000, just clarifying that.
No. Not for Lobola.
I'm just saying, because I know somebody's going to sit and assume.
Oh, no.
Charged you 300,000.
Not 300,000 for Lobola, but you need to build up some savings. My parents divorced when I was young, and my mother was a hawker. So there are no life savings. There's no injured on duty. Even with her arthritis, she can't go anywhere. You are supposed to be the gap that your father left. So before you even start your family, that's why you start with this thing that everybody calls black tax, because you're expected to chip in. And that's where the whole thing of 50-50 comes in, to say, can we just pay whatever so that I can quietly help out wherever I could? I don't have to come to a girlfriend and ask a girlfriend, my mother wants to buy some underwear. Can I send it home? It was too embarrassing for me for that. But it gave me an opportunity. No, I'm just making an example.
All right, okay.
I'm just making an example to say, imagine now your girlfriend is the one that other people are doing it, and they're quite fine with it, probably. But for me, it was quite embarrassing. I don't want to deal with that. I can't remember exactly what happened, but looking back at it right now, I think those were probably some of the factors that was
now that you say that, one of the biggest things was actually the black tax part. We were in this relationship very much committed to each other, and at the same time, we have all these pressures from family to say, you can't just get married, you have to help out, you have to do stuff. And it became to a point where you just rather sort out your family where you can with what you have, and just let it be your thing. Don't stress me about your family, I won't stress you about my family, kind of thing. That's where the biggest mistakes started to happen. And I don't know if this is actually making any sense. Before you get married, they have their own expectations. You know, they take you to school and they expect you to help out one way or another with something. And for them, some of the family members felt like we're too young to get married at the time. And, you know, we had to help out and fix stuff and buy things for the home before getting married, because they view marriage as, you know, you're gone, you're gone. We're not going to be able to now, you know, get access to you, which crazily enough, it's not even the case. They still like, hello?
Yeah, I think it all differs because our background's a little different. You had both parents that got a pay slip, even though it was at different times in their lives. I had one parent who had a pay slip, and in 1996 they got divorced. I had a family where nobody had a pay slip, so all that we knew at home was either my mother being a hawker, going door to door selling whatever the case is, curtains, jerseys, you name them, mini geezers, you name them, everything, Avon, everything.
Avon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had my sisters, we had to drop out to open up a salon. Oldest brother ventured into business. So now we were starting to be stable. It's not something else that you're used to for a long time. And that's why the family reliance will come in. The family foundations are not always the same. And it can always lead you to financial difficulties when you start a family. I mean, even in 2008, when we decided to move, my brother and I move out of my sister's house to say, we've been staying with you when we were in varsity, but it's time for us to move. It was already a tough pill to swallow to say, how come you guys are moving without even you guys having a pay slip? We're supposed to be coming together as a family, help each other for that, because we've been struggling for so long. And then now it's like you're starting your own, I want to be on my own. So the family at one point wanted to protect that you just don't fail for a longer time. I mean, the Western world wins because on TV, every man for themselves. You start your own family on your own. It's not this whole kumbaya of you staying with your parents until you're 40. You stay with your parents until you're 25. We'll reclassify you as a loser. To say, why aren't you getting your own things? In my case, I started working at 20. If I was staying with my parents until I'm 40, you could imagine how much wealth I would have built.
But honey, black tax is a thing.
I know it's a thing.
And it grows with your salary.
I think black tax is a cultural issue. We don't know what is our identity as a family. And that's why I say it's a cultural issue, because we got this thing of telling us about freedom, and we got this thing of, you know, we are a crowd, we must stay together. and then it clashes. When you say, no, I want to be on my own, it creates that thing called tax.
Who said there's freedom? Who said that?
There's no freedom, apparently. When you go to YouTube right now,
no.
Wait 1 second. And then you watch financial freedom. Does it tell you, take care of your families? And then
more than half the time, unfortunately, the people making those videos are not black people.
Exactly. So that's the pressure that I'm talking about. That's the freedom that I'm seeing.
Yeah, but you can't compare yourself.
So when I was young, when I started working, so the CFO comes over, asked me, December, what do you see of the future? So I said, hey, Claudette, I'm trying to retire at 30. And she laughed like that. And it hit me, and she said, it's too early for you. Why don't you push it to 40? And she made me to relax a little bit. I did finance. I did investment management. I knew time value of money. As much as I was staying with my brother, I knew that if I saved enough money as possible, at 10% return, every 7 years, my money will double. So my thinking was, if I can save, I was getting paid 6,000. If I could save 1,000 in year one, and then it keeps on growing, but my expenses doesn't grow. By the time that I'm 30, I would have had built enough savings for me to quit my job and pursue doing other things. That's what retirement was all about to me. And that thinking of it's too early, it made me to doubt myself, and I relaxed a little bit. And then I ended up going into debt. And the first debt that I went into was cell phone contracts.
You guys are probably like, why are they telling us all of this? This is just to give you guys the backstory, you know, so to sort of like piece the pieces together. Yes, there's 1,000,001 more pieces to this puzzle that we're not going to share, but at the same time, we're sharing this because it's sufficient enough to sort of like get you guys to an understanding level. So when we tell you guys about, you know, the money mistakes we've made, it makes sense to say at the time, it makes sense because this is the thing with money mistakes. In the moment, it makes perfect sense. It's only when you are almost drowning, or when you're out of it that you realize that was actually the most stupid thing I've ever done, and I'm not doing that again. And you have to constantly remind yourself to not do that again, because best believe the very same thing will present itself in different form, but it will be exactly the same. That's why we're telling you this sort of backstory. Your first money mistake was cell phone contract.
Yeah, well, it made sense at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I couldn't afford a cell phone, functional cell phone.
I remember you buying me a cell phone. My first, wait, was it first? No, that HTC. What was I moving from? What phone did I have then?
From a Samsung. You
Samsung
still have
Star.
it in here.
I remember you buying me that phone. Did you get it on contract?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have the cash. Remember, my whole point was save as much as you can.
Yeah.
So you always go for the minimal payment.
Yeah.
I mean, Vodacom at the time, I think it was 80 rands or something like that. If they can pay 80 rands, that's 80 rands, I can save the money. You push the money into something else. Makes sense at a time, but you must remember a cell phone contract at the time was 24 months. Now that's 36 months. I had to help get a house at home, and then from there then it becomes home improvements. You have to put on a gate, you have to put on pavement, put on a solar geyser. So I had all of that discipline. 2010, 2011, I can't remember what happened at one point, and I realized that all the money that I had put in my 32-day notice was depleted. I was devastated, and at that time I said, I always go Eastgate, look at these BMWs and stuff, and I always said one day I'll get it, and I knew I'm gonna get them when I'm around 30.
Yeah.
But at this time, it devastated me that whatever I'm trying to save up, there's always something that takes
the money.
So I went and I bought the car.
I remember that car.
Yeah. And mind you, when I bought the car, I had over 5,000 free money every month. The car was going to be 2,500, insurance 700. It made sense to go get the car. It's something that I can take. I'll still throw in 1,000 or 2 into my savings, and that's what I thought to myself.
And it was a brand new car.
It was a brand new
car. It would be more reliable.
So I moved from having 5,000 that I can just put into a 32-day notice. Not the fancy. I didn't know that I can have access to the fancy Allen Craig, JP Morgan, Investec. I didn't know that because they always position themselves to say, we are there for chartered accountants or law students.
Yeah.
They always pushed us all out. I think at the time, the minimum that you could open up an Investec savings account was 200 rands or something like that. I had 5,000. I would have walked in clean into a private bank. But my coding was, go open up a 32-day notice. And when there's something wrong, when the pipe bursts, you go
quickly
click,
get the money.
get it, and they charge you an extra 1% at a time. To break, not to wait 32 days for the notice, and then you get the money, you go help out with that, and before you know it, you are frustrated to say, what am I building? The money's finished, let me just get myself a car.
But do you remember though the story about you buying the car? And the car we're talking about, by the way, is a Polo Blue Motion. It was also blue. He's only ever owned blue cars, this guy.
True.
Do you remember the story? How you
sure.
ended up with the Blue Motion? That you and your brother were talking about something, and then
we were talking about, because I was always BM Mercedes guy. I love Mercedes. My brother was a BM guy, but we'll always look at BM Mercedes second hand wherever we go anywhere. And at one point, we were talking about this car that they created, which consumed the lowest fuel ever. So it was unheard of. It was the Polo Blue Motion.
Yeah, but also I consider that a money mistake because you didn't need the car at the time, and I don't even think you were ready to get a car at the time. Yes, you had the surplus excess money, but at the same time, you were not looking for a car. It was just you just happened to bump into this car and you said, hey, why not?
I did do analysis and it made sense. Let me tell you why it made sense. I literally stayed here and there was a road and I worked here, like in Gandhi Square, across the road. You're right, I didn't need a car. And I got in another job from me staying here to just crossing Gandhi Square, which is the bus stop, to the other side of the road. I walked to work. I didn't need the car at all. What made me to compel into a car was, remember a story that I told you about finances? I was putting money away and I didn't see anything for it. And I wanted to at least have something. Instead of me putting money away into buying gold coins or something, my mindset was, at least you have a car. I didn't need the car. Most of the time. Even at one point we spent like 2 years or 3 years where I would leave the car and jump into public transportation and go to work. Maybe I'm not a car person. I like
No,
to
you
see,
are a car person.
I like to see a car
No.
But
No. I've been with you for almost 13 years. You are a car person. I can tell you that you are a car person.
then I should get myself a spanking new Lamborghini.
I honestly consider that car a money mistake because apart from the drama that came with the car, once you had the car, it's the fact that you bought a car at a time where you didn't really need a car. I remember we did a spreadsheet of let's travel then. Now that the car is here, let's use it. Let's go places.
Yeah, true.
And that came with more expenses. So it just became this snowball thing of there's a car, yes, it's great. It's not supposed to consume fuel, but geez Louisa, we go into all these places that need the extra money now.
Yeah.
So we always needed to put in money, and at the time I was the gorgeous girlfriend sitting on the passenger seat and folding my arms and you had to fit the bill.
Isn't it? That's what society has told us.
That's how it should be. A man should provide for a woman,
but not for longer, because nowadays, remember, say in your generation women were still coming up. Right now in this generation, women has already came up.
No, hear me. I still say a man should provide for a woman and his family, period. But it doesn't mean he has to do it alone. If the woman is working, if the wife is working, if they have some other income, fantastic.
So you're saying you were the money mistake?
They can work.
In your not so many words, you were saying you were the money mistake because you were the girlfriend who folded the arms.
No, I wasn't the money mistake. I did exactly what a girlfriend is supposed to do. I owed you nothing.
So where does this line that you're talking about to say women must chip in, men must not do it alone?
No.
If before when you guys are dating, you're just folding your
I'm
hand.
talking about marriage. I'm talking about marriage.
Yes,
a man should provide for his family, period.
And then on the road to marriage?
A man should take care of her. How are you going to marry that woman if you're not showing her that you can take care of her once you're married?
And then when do I get to evaluate if you're going to be folding your arms or not? Is it?
No. I care you've proven yourself.
Yeah.
That you can take care of me.
Yeah.
I know that one day you'll buy me a house or whatever, you have the ability. And once we get married or just before we get married or I don't know, at some point after we talk about marriage, then we start talking about, so do we want a 2 million house or like a 3 million house?
No. That's the wrong question. Money, how much do you have? So then I can check how much I have before you even talking about expenses.
I feel like we drifted. But anyway, you guys comment down below and let me know what's your stance. I still say, look, I'm old school, okay? I still say a man should provide for his family, but he doesn't have to do it alone. It's a conversation between you and me to say, this is how much I'm making. I can cover all of this, but this is how far my money can go, and then I can then chip in, or we sit together and we say, this is where we want to get. We want to get to that 3 million house, with a helipad and a helicopter, so how are we getting there together kind of thing. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I know that if God forbid I broke my leg, my husband will be able to take care of us.
Yeah, but that's not husband taking care of a family, because husband taking care of the family is going back to the mining days. Because when you say you need to know that I can provide for you, the issue now becomes, and I've heard this from many people, what happens when I don't get a job? Even though I was smarter and I got all the degrees, but I just don't get employment, and you got employment before me and we are dating. Now what happens? Are you gonna now come over and then go get Thomas and Peter and Patrick? They have better means than me. You see where that thing comes
Actually,
in?
no. You see, the thing is, you don't have to always do it. It's just showing that you can do it that matters. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where December was romancing me for the first 3 months. It was beautiful, and as soon as I was hooked, home guy just lays on the couch and asks me, did you not buy bread today? Like, excuse me.
Yeah, I think it's double folded. Remember, there's different school of thoughts. When we're talking about the money mistakes, we must also address this different school of thoughts. The first one is that a man must do the majority of the money giving in the family. But I'm saying be cognizant, because there are also career ladies that have already built a lot of career for themselves, and they wouldn't mind sharing whatever they've built for somebody who's genuine to love them.
Yes.
But with the way that we're going with the conversation, they would be thinking, that would be a money mistake. I'm not gonna go for this guy who's not able to cover my expenses or the family expenses because he earns too little. It's a money mistake.
I wouldn't say that. That's not what I was saying. All I said was a man needs to support his family. How he does it is entirely up to him and his strengths and his abilities. If you're a stay-at-home dad, I need to know that when I'm sitting in my corner office grinding for that money that we need to buy food and whatever else running the household, I'm not going to come back home and chairs are going to be broken, kids are going to be filthy, and the light is not going to be working, and there's a husband in the house.
No, that's not a husband. It's just,
but my point exactly. You need to be able to take care of your family however way you can. You need to be able to do that, and you need to prove that to your girlfriend. To me at the time, I was worried about financial security. Dude, it's all cuckoo. I was not about to get into a relationship where I have to be the one coughing out more money. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, true.
Financial security for me was number one. Obviously the lovey-dovey, all the fun stuff, but financial security. I was not going to be in a relationship where I'll be like, damn, are we even going to make it through this month? And that's why I folded my arms. I was like, I will fold my arms as long as I need to.
Yeah, true.
It's just sad that we never had that conversation, and maybe to you it came across as this girl. Well, you never said anything,
I mean, what you're talking about here, it's another level to say, because of what you knew when you entered the relationship, our money patterns followed the same learnings that we had. Even if we go back right now and then you still got hit by the fears of what your family was going through, you will still make the same money mistakes that you made.
Now
we take out the learnings, we just rewind the time. You still make the same money mistake because the fear is still there, even though it's 2023. We just take out the learnings, take out you getting rid of the monies. We just take you back with it. But in this year, you'll still make the same mistake. Likewise, I'll still want to do the same thing. We'll still want to say, I'm tired that every 2-3 months, every 6 months, we had to move house. Getting a house was key number one for me. If you have your own burden, like I did, you had your own burden, like you did. When we came together, we knew what we didn't want. We knew that the 50-50 thing we didn't want, but we had to resort to that because I had to take care of other things. You had to take care of other things. And in the process, you end up committing to say, okay, I will fix the pavement. All of that is it's a personal loan. And now you have a car, you have a personal loan, you have cell phone contract, you have all of these things. Because you are thinking to yourself, if I were to be crippled or something, at least my colleagues are not going in the middle of nowhere where we don't have a home. There's a home and I need to make it presentable.
Speaking of personal loans, I think my first ever money mistake was actually a personal loan. I got a personal loan with direct access. Honestly, I had no reason whatsoever to get a personal loan. That person just caught me at the right time, at the right place, I guess. I didn't need a personal loan. They called me. I think I had just started working for Internet Solutions, and the salary was like getting a little bit more stable at the time. And they called me. They said, we have an offer for you and yada yada. You know how the salespeople go. And I was like, well, okay, I guess I can use the money to do something, even though I had absolutely nothing to do with the money. So I took the money. I don't even remember to this day what I did with that money. The one thing I knew though from like day one is that when I bought a car, I wanted an SUV. Like I didn't just want to get a car because it's a car. And so the one thing I was able to delay with all the money mistakes was getting a car, because I was like, if I get a car now, it's going to be a car I don't want. And apart from the fact that I didn't even have a driver's license for so long, was just the cherry on top to say, I can't even drive legally anyway, so why get a car? But that direct access personal loan was so stupid. It was ridiculous. And to make matters worse, when I had about a year left on it, they called me again. You know how they like, you've been paying so well, and we just want to say thank you, and we have reserved like more money. At the time, I think they reserved like 60,000, and I took it. I was like, okay, like it's fine, they like, if you agree, it's gonna be available in your account almost immediately, and yada yada. So I was like, okay. And I think that money, I used it to pay for something. I just don't remember what I paid for. I don't know if it was furniture or what. I actually have no idea. And then obviously blew it. I can't point to anything I did with that money, so it was just a ridiculous mistake. And then I had a clothing account. Go identity. I don't even know why I would open an identity store account, honestly, because identity fashion is not me. But I had a store account called Identity, and I opened that one, I think while I was still called UJ. Yeah, that should actually be my first money mistake, because I had a job, right? I was working for the audiovisual unit, and I had a salary, like I had a proper pay slip. And I was like, why not open a store account? And they gave me credit, like 6,000. Obviously, I went nuts. And I bought it. Remember that little blue dress I had that I wore for our first year anniversary? Go Santin? Yeah, that was bought from my identity.
Wow. I'm shook that they at least they had a conscience to you. To me, I was pure student, no income whatever.
Yeah.
Absa calls me, gives me a credit card, 2.8. Markham or one of those sends a card in the post. I got to Westgate Mall, it's 18,000 in there, and that's when the only thing else that I did was to buy shoes. And then after that, I'm like, what do I need a Markham thing for? And then I cut the card and I called them and I closed it. And then after that, it was something called Botman's. I don't know if it's still there.
No.
They had also given me another 10,000 or something like that. I always had fear when it comes to credit. I've never done drugs, but I think credit is like that. You know you're not supposed to get into it, because I had the education. I mean, I did investment management, I did finance.
Yeah.
I got everything. So I knew this is bad debt. So what I would do is I would get those, maybe buy a pair of shoes for 900. You got 18,000, but pay off the 900 and then cut the card and say, I don't need this. And then go maybe another one, you use 2,000 from the 9,000, and then I close it off. All it was doing is it was introducing me to the fact that there is something. And at one point, I think when I tried to open up a shop, that's when I went for a personal loan, 120, which was the max. I could qualify for those max amount, and I went to Absa, another 50,000 there, and I went for another overdraft, 20,000. And I threw all of that and we created the coffee shop. And it took me forever to come out of that. But because now you already have that, it's Wonga.com, was it Wonga? Payday loans, I think that's what they call them. And it went up into Capfin. And that's when I realized that really I'm in trouble.
It's bad.
It became bad. And the cherry on top, we now had upgraded the car. Now we're driving a Mercedes C-Class. And a year later it crashed and it was written off. And insurance hit me with non-disclosure.
That was messed up.
And for me, it was the first time that I've had encounter with insurance. And I think it's a learning curve.
I do think though that in our relationship overall, you've had more expensive money mistakes.
Yeah, that's why I got so many degrees. I'm a risk taker.
And but the sad thing is all of those mistakes were made from a good place. You were just trying to be a good kid. You were just trying to do good by your mom, and you were trying to do good by yourself and get a car, and you were trying, to get the Mercedes you've always wanted, but then they just screwed you over.
That's another thing that I always say. If you hear about most rich people or people that are wealthy, they always talk about people that are talking on their behalf. The funny word on YouTube is the 1%ers, because they charge 1% for everything that they do for you. We all supposed to hate them. Let me make another example. Later on, when I did an investment with one of the companies, I did not go alone to say I'm gonna go invest in MTN, whatever the case is. I went into this investment house and I said, how much to open up an account? They said 500 rands a month, and I paid the 500 rands a month. And the company is the one that does the investing for you, and all you have to do is just to watch your money grow. But things happen. I had to crush the money because I had to take myself to university to do my master's. Doing my master's also could have easily become a money mistake, because here I spent 300,000. I have no 1 rand towards this is as a result of a master's. So you can easily say it was a money mistake, but all I'm saying is it was a series of learnings left, right, and center.
It's all these things that had to happen for us to know that we don't want them. Like, I had a credit card that I didn't need. It's so weird saying all these things because when I was making the video with my mom, and she's never gotten debt. At the time when I was getting all this debt, I never even stopped to say, but where did I see this? Why am I doing this? Why am I getting debt? I don't need any of these things. But I had a credit card that took me forever to get out of, and it wasn't expensive. I think my limit on the credit card was 12,000, but it took me forever forever to get out of it, because now I was paying for the direct access personal loan and I had to pay now for this credit card. I think at the time I even got an overdraft because I had a banker tell me, no, you just have it, just take it and just keep it in your bank account. You don't have to use it. That never works. You will use that money whether you want to or not. I wasn't disciplined enough to not use it. So I ended up using that overdraft, and so now my salary is coming into a bank account that's already on a negative, and then the banking fees are now ridiculous because now it's a negative, plus now they charge you for the overdraft fees, plus you have a credit card fee, plus you have this personal loan. It was just one thing on top of another. And I mean, I say my salary was getting better, but it wasn't amazing either. We still had the little girl to take care of, and we had all these responsibilities that we were sharing amongst ourselves, and I wanted to live. I always say, and I'll continue to say this, I like living the comfortable life. I want to get up in the morning, and if I feel like I want to eat at Woolies Cafe, I want to go to Woolies Cafe and eat there. And he used to ask me a lot, like, you know, if money wasn't an issue, like, what would you do? Or something along the lines of, like, you know, what do you want to do? Or how much money you want? And I'm like, it's not about how much money I have, it's about the lifestyle that I want. And for me, it's that thing to say, if I want to take the family to Cape Town, heck, let's go to Cape Town.
And I'm the opposite. I'm the one who needs to make sure that things are done. If we have money that's not being saved or whatever, I mean, what's the point of blowing money on Cape Town? Because now you're gonna come back with unexpected expenses. And I can't tell you, because I had to be a man and fill up the fuel, but I didn't want to tell you that I don't even have this money. And before you know it, I'm 6,000 overdrawn. You're not getting debt or this offers. It's the same as going into a nightclub on a Friday night. If you go and you drink alcohol, there's cops outside, they're gonna catch you for drunken driving. You have this thing that you can be in a nightclub drinking water, enjoying the party, but know that when you drive out, you're gonna be clean. And that's what debt is all about. Is that temptation. You're in a nightclub and they say, I got you, I got the bill, man. We got the table. I left 10,000 at the door for us to have a table. You can't just drink water. But you know very well that you're the driver and the cops are waiting outside. And that's exactly what has to do with debt. Most of the time, you're like, but why am I trapped? And unfortunately, there was nobody in my circle that had good financial advice.
Like I said, I never had that conversation with my mom or my parents, you know, about money and finances and stuff. And you and I also never had that conversation in our relationship. I gotta say, after crushing that Mercedes, a series of bad decisions.
I mean, life flashes in front of your eyes and things happen.
Everything we did was, we can't die before we see this. We can't die before we do this.
And I must say, it was amazing. We saw elephants. We drove all the way to Victoria Falls. I mean, the stuff we were just seeing stuff on the map, and we're like, let's go see it. We even saw the desert. I never thought in my life I would see the desert. And that's why we just kept on driving, because I just wanted to see these places. But what I'm trying to get to is, it doesn't matter. You can have, to your point, you can have good intentions, but the people that are supporting you, they got targets to make. They don't really care that you want to be doing your helicopter.
Yeah, but also don't say it like that, because it sounds very like hopeless. I think you should just rather say, you know, be on the lookout. You must listen for what the person is not telling you. You mustn't just take their word as gospel to say, oh, so I'm doing it wrong. No, get a second opinion and a third opinion, and just, you know, make an informed decision instead of a rushed decision because somebody told you it's not good enough.
I think that's where I felt a lot. I always trusted. You get one or two people, then you're like, this is the gospel. Nothing stops you from shopping around. Go get another opinion. Go get another one, and another one. It's your money. You can go for it. But the whole point of assets and liabilities and whatever, yes, we all trying to build the balance sheet to get assets. But things happen.
Things truly happen. And we could sit here forever and tell you guys about, you know, all of our money mistakes. But this is just some of them that we have made along the way. And honestly, we sit here, I'm grateful that we managed to clean up our money mistakes. You know, we were able to pay off those credit cards that we had that were really annoying. He had a credit card as well. I had a credit card. We both had overdrafts, and we both had clothing accounts at some point.
And I don't know how many times did I close the credit cards
only to reopen it.
Something happens, you reopen. But also another thing that I say is, it was like if I didn't have that much burden on me, financial commitment, whatever the case is, I wasn't gonna be aggressive when I'm fighting for income or salary negotiation. as when everything else is good, I mean, you're content. I look back at some years, I was happy with 4% salary increase. And now I complain about, I got 4% salary increase while inflation was 5%. And one guy came and said, but I got 2. And I knew I mustn't friend you. If you're going to be getting 2% salary increases, I'm trying to get 15%, 20% salary increase year by year. And I've failed a lot. I mean, I think the closest sometime I would get is 10%. But my target was like, if I could get 15, 20 with the negotiation. It's because there was a burning thing on my neck.
But to be honest, I think, black tax has played a huge role in some of your money mistakes. And not to say it was good or bad, but it's just that sense of responsibility to say, I want to do it. Not even like I have to do it. You feel like almost like obliged to want to do that.
For me, it was I wanted to do that thing to have peace for me, for myself.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You wanted to do it.
It wasn't like an obligation. They started to expect it once they see that, you can do it.
So you started the whole thing.
There's good intentions where you can have a bonus and then somebody calls, and I think somebody else was saying, whatever people call you, you give them half or 3/4 of whatever they ask for. Somebody calls you, say, hey, I need 1,000, and you're like, hey, I only got 250, and you give them 250. And for me, it was like, nah, that's bad, because sometimes you get small money, like 100 rands. Then you send 300. Then you go, whoa, I got 3 times what I asked for. And then it becomes expectation. And that's where you'll get bigger things.
You still do that to this day.
Yes. One thing that I realized is when you don't have, do not tell anybody that you don't have.
Yeah.
Because the time that you have something and you need their permission, they'll remind you of how you don't have money.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I've learned. When I want to do something and somebody asks me, can you help me out with $1,000? Then I don't have the money, but I'll start to ask, what do you need $1,000 for? No, I want to go to this place. There's some business there I want to see. And I'll rather say, it doesn't make sense to me. Why would you want to do that? And then drop the conversation, then say, I don't have the money. Because at one point you'll say, I want to get married. And then you'll get reminded, but you don't have the money. That's one thing that I've learned. The framing your words, way more important. When people call and I don't have the money, I rather interrogate them. What's happening? Tell me more. Who did you see do that? It makes sense. You say you want to buy a container? Where are you going to put the container? Tell me more. And then you go on. And after that, you're like, I see the numbers, but let me think about it. And you never actually say, I don't have the money. I'm not saying it will stop the black tax, but for me, it's easier to live with that than to say, when somebody needs money, give them half or 3/4 of whatever they're asking for.
Yeah.
I mean, that becomes like mean. You know that deep down inside, you have the money and somebody is stranded in the middle of the road somewhere.
But
and you want to give them 50 rand.
That's saying, do not prioritize somebody else's emergency. It's none of your business. If you give them 1/4, heck, you've gone above and beyond. You don't owe them anything.
But you must remember, I'm the guy, before I even get the money, I already allocated that money.
Yeah.
So even when the SMS is still long and you can see the money there, that money is already allocated a long time ago. I know it in my head. The accounting is still here. I know it. So when you come over and you say, I know there's a money, can you give me, can I buy this? And then I start integrating, it's because I never allocated it here. But 5 months from now, there might be free money.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, you sort of back yourself into a corner. You don't want to say you don't have money, but at the same time, you want to give the money. And now when you give the money, they know you have the money. Then they come back for more money. Then it's a vicious cycle. And then you find yourself in a situation where Overdrafts is like, oh, what I would do for Willie's cafe. And you're just like, there's no money. I'm like, gee whiz. Okay, all right, it's okay. It's okay. You will never admit this. Deep down, I do think you're a little bit of a people pleaser. You're very good with presenting your cases and asking questions, but you are a people pleaser. And that makes you and I both. And that's why we always find ourselves in sticky situations where we just like, God damn it, really? Again? But at the same time, we do need to learn to say we don't have money. Like, I would rather have people look at me and say, oh, they don't have money, when I know very well that if I want to go to Cape Town tomorrow, I'm going to Cape Town tomorrow. I don't have to make an announcement. I don't have to explain myself to anybody. Nobody has the right to come and say, but I borrowed money. You said you don't have money. Yes, I don't have money for you. I have money for me.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. If that's not what you understood, tough.
But I don't cut it like that.
Yes,
I
you
just
don't.
allocate the money. You come over 0-0.
No, he's not lying. I actually had to sort of like pull him back to say, look here, look at me. I'm your wife, okay? You need to have miscellaneous for the wife because we can't live like that. He did this thing where he's like, no, but like the money's already allocated. I'm like, and? I'm sorry, and?
Yeah, but it's
my
already
problem.
It's already allocated.
He's learned though. He's learned.
You know, at one point, I used to have mini accounts everywhere. I had account for a car in case it breaks down. I was putting 500 for that. I had an account for emergencies, put 500 for that. When the car broke down, I can't remember where it. Oh, when I was in Cape Town, it was no brain. I knew there was
money
in the account. That's the stuff that everybody is teaching us to do. And then now, if you come over and you're like, I need to do my nails, is 2,000. Then you're like, okay, what is not being paid now?
I'm your wife, okay? You need to be ready.
You see,
for that.
this is how the money mistakes comes. With entitlement. I'm your mother. I'm your father. Long story short, one thing that I realized right now, and I said this to somebody else, and I said, with all my short spend with money, I've learned one thing. Whatever money that you want, you already got it. At one point I was like, if I could only have this much millions, I'll be okay. And the guy said, go make a spreadsheet back what? And you'll see you had that money a long time ago. What you did with that money back then, you're still gonna do it if you got the money today. And number two, from that lesson, I learned that money is for transactional. You don't pile up money. It's like oxygen. I can't breathe for tomorrow. You can't do that. Money is for transactional. Wealth on the other side is different.
Yeah, we say all of this to say, you know, we've also made money mistakes. We've also found ourselves in tricky situations. To be honest, we still find ourselves in tricky situations to this day. We are learning to combine our finances. Obviously, it's not an easy thing because we both grew up not seeing any of that, and we don't know how to navigate that as well. It's still a process. Right now, all we care about is the kids' school fees is paid, our bond is paid, and we have enough money to live the life we want. And we got that. Those check boxes check and everything is good. So we need to get to a point where we say, okay, fine. So all of this is checked out, you know, the debt is handled. So that's great. Now, how do we build the wealth? You know, how with all these money mistakes we've made, with all of these debts now paid, how do we build the wealth so that by the time we reach 45, we can look back and say, I think we're good. I think it's time we can go take off our hats and now put them down so we can lay down and now enjoy life the way we want to enjoy life. Yeah, we're sharing this video to say these are some of our money mistakes. They are not pretty. Maybe it didn't make sense. Maybe it made sense, but you are not alone. If you're sitting, you have a boyfriend or you have a girlfriend and they're not telling you about money, maybe the conversation you want to start having with them is, you know, what do they want in a partner? What do they want in a husband? Because then you realize that some of that might actually be tied to money. Like for me, example, Dizzy didn't know that. I wasn't chipping in because I needed to know that he's able to take care of me financially. But he didn't know that back then, and we never even had that conversation. He just showed up all the time with the money and whatever else was needed at the time, and things would just get done. I don't know if he stayed up in the night pounding his head thinking, how am I gonna do stuff? I don't know. I slept peacefully knowing that, oh, he can take care of me, things are looking up, you know. Maybe start first with having that conversation with your boyfriend or your girlfriend and try to understand, you know, what it is that you're looking for in a partner. Do you need like financial security? Do you want somebody who can like buy you a house? Do you want somebody to build you a house? Do you want to do the 50-50 thing, which I honestly don't recommend. Don't do that. How do you combine your finances, and what's your relationship with money? Because we all have such unhealthy relationships with money that you don't see it until you are up to your eyelids in debt, that you're like, oh my God, you know. And sometimes it's not even about debt. It's about blowing through your savings, blowing through your investments, that you realize, I never should have done that. I should have done this instead, but it's already done. We need to learn to be comfortable with the idea of handling money and the idea of having money. It's okay to have money. I don't know why money is such a taboo and uncomfortable thing.
Because the love of money is the root of all evil.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Of which my understanding of it doesn't mean when you love money, you are evil. Because evil does exist without money. Yeah. It just says if all you do in life is to pursue money, you would even do evil things
To get the money.
knowingly just for you, so that you get, because money is much more valuable to you. But like I said, on my side, I'm happy that I took the loan route. I mean, I went, got 7 degrees. I don't regret any of them. Most of them I've never earned a cent back from it. Like project management.
I was thinking.
I've never earned a cent from project management, but I did do them. But if I was thinking about money all the time, I would end up even changing the financials of the bank to make sure that I'm a top performer, so that I can get a biggest bonus. And then later on, people that are irregular like that, ethically, we fire them. And I'm not saying sit there and love money and don't make mistakes. I'm just saying find your own balance.
Ask yourself that question. What kind of life do you actually want? Do you want that life alone, or do you want it with a husband and kids, or do you want it with just the kids and no husband? You know, ask yourself that and look at, like, how am I going to get to that life? And, you know, what needs to be in place? Do you need a whole bunch of credit cards? Do you need a whole lot of personal loans? Or do you need none of those things? You know, you need your hard-earned money to get to the life you want. So yeah, I mean, I think we're going to leave it here. This video is probably an hour long. Comment down below and let us know what you learned, and or what money mistakes you've made as well. And we'll catch you guys on our next one.
Yeah, you must swipe your credit card. It's funny, I'm not a credit card person. Every time I swipe, it feels awkward. Like,
Bye, besties. No, you didn't. Bye, besties. Thank you.
oh, it's God.
Starting off with a nap. That's not right.
Why, even though we have mics so close, why do we still shout?
Because you're used to projecting when you make a video and you want to be heard. Bring your message across. And
Why can't you be energetic when your voice is still low?
because you see,
Like, guys, you are out there. You do this, you do that.
you see, not, that's, no.
I cannot start talking softer on the bigger mic because you can't project with the mic here. It picks up everything.
What do you mean?
That broadcasting mic.
Oh Lord, this mic. Everything is this mic. That mic. Hello mic. That mic. Here
I'm
mic.
getting
There
the
mic.
second one. Why am I taller than you? Let me
You've
just
always
slouch a
been
little
taller
bit.
than me.
Yeah, doesn't look nice that I'm taller.
Please don't slouch. You can be uncomfortable. That's fine. This is class.